Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris here on France 24. We're going to find out the top stories in the French media now. Media Watch France, as it's known, is being presented tonight by Olivier Salazar-Winspear. Good evening to you, Olivier.
Hi.
Now, Nicolas Sarkozy, some might say he's being a bad loser before he's even lost the election. Or he said he might lose the election according to the recent polls. He says, if you don't vote for me, I'm not sticking around. I'm quitting politics for good.
Yeah, he's threatening to quit politics if he doesn't win. Although he's not, he's trying not to envisage the worst case scenario. He has said that he's more determined than ever to fight for the presidency, but he will be on his way out if he doesn't win this time around. I think we can hear from him confirming that.
If the people no longer have confidence in me, do you really believe that I should continue in politics? The answer is no.
Well, sounds like a bit of a threat, doesn't it?
A threat, or I think perhaps the opposite for people who weren't going to vote for him. Now, Le Parisien says Nicolas Sarkozy, is already envisaging the possibility of a defeat. The worst case scenario for him, that would be. But there are also other rumours coming from the press in general that the UMP within the inner circle are actually very worried about how the polls are panning out at the moment, that Sarkozy's popularity is taking a turn for the worse, and while François Hollande's profile rises quite a bit. And it's quite funny that he's already started talking about the post-election landscape, because there's an article in Le Point from 2008, and I remember this is only a year after he was elected the first time around, about what he says in his private life. It's some kind of behind-the-scenes
what he thinks of America, right? Yeah.
And here he said, well, there's a suggestion that he might have had another plan all along. He might have sketched out a scenario where he didn't run for a second term, where he, in fact, pursued a career in the lucrative world of after-dinner speaking, quoting the example of Bill Clinton, of course, who, after he was president of the US, he could command up to $150,000 just for showing up somewhere and talking to them. So it does suggest that Sarkozy's looking at his options, or has been looking at his options for a while, if things don't go to plan in May.
Well, it's a well-worn route for politicians, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got Tony Blair doing the rounds. Even Cherie Blair does the rounds as well, doesn't he?
He makes a pretty penny from it.
I think you can make a lot of money. Maybe he didn't make his mind up until the last minute. Anyway, let's talk about the man who is tipped to win the election, if you trust the polls at this stage, François Hollande. Now, he is, of course, the ex-partner of Ségolène Royal, who herself was defeated by Nicolas Sarkozy nearly 5 years ago, and his girlfriend is called Valérie Trierweiler. Is that right?
Yes.
And they're both having something of a spat in
They're
public.
both in the headlines, actually. It's the women around François Hollande that have dominated the headlines today, not François Hollande so much. Valérie Trierweiler, she is on the front page of Paris Match here. You can see her there next to him, and Paris Match has got a massive feature with a subtitle saying François Hollande's charming asset, the story of how their love came about, lots of pictures and text about the couple. So far, so normal. There are always these kind of features about a candidate's partner.
Right.
But the funny thing here is that Valérie herself actually works for Paris Match. She's a journalist at this magazine.
Oh, so that's handy.
Well, you think so, but she wasn't actually any the wiser to this article coming out, or the front page, and she was furious when she saw it. She sees herself on the front of Paris Match. Where does an angry journalist go to vent? Twitter, obviously.
Obviously. What does she say?
She tweets at Paris Match, quite angry. What a shock to discover that I'm on the front page of the magazine without being consulted. That's terrible. And then she goes and takes a bit more of a sarcastic tone here, saying, oh, it's a bit sexist on International Women's Day to do that to me. And what's even funnier, I found, is that there doesn't seem to be any kind of exchange between this woman and her employer. They reply equally publicly on Twitter by saying, oh, it's true, Valérie, we didn't discuss the front page with you. That's Paris Match's right to be independent, and you're best placed to understand that. You should know you work for us.
This is a bit of a problem, isn't it? An ongoing theme here in France. Female journalists who find that they themselves are the story. We saw it, of course, with Anne Sinclair. It just seems to be a bit of a professional hazard.
I think this is what she was taking issue with. She didn't want to become the story and obscure her own career, perhaps François Hollande's path as well. So this is all incredibly public, and it, of course, as soon as it hit the headlines...
What's Ségolène got to do with it then?
Oh, Ségolène comes later because she's on the campaign trail as well. This is Libération who picked it up, saying that, it's all a bit of a scandal. And it really raises this question of, conflict of interest. If you're a journalist and your partner's running for office, which has happened at more than one occasion in France, do you toe the party line or do you carry on with your job?
All right.
Ségolène of course, comes in...
The ex-partner and the mother of François Hollande's children.
Comes in a different way through the party more this time, because, of course, she's not a candidate this time around. She was in 2007 when she went head-to-head with Nicolas Sarkozy. But she's still on the campaign trail. I think we can see her here going actually door-to-door. Now, it's quite an old-fashioned approach, canvassing voters at their houses. She was out in the suburbs of Paris urging people to vote, use their right to vote, and some of them are quite surprised, as you can see, shouting, you know, up and down. I think we can see some reactions here.
Where is my web news teaser? You get to this
Enfin, Tissot, vous savez qu'il y a bientôt des élections. Oui. Voilà. Oui. Vote pour Madame Ségolène. Oui, maintenant c'est la même équipe. Alors, je suis dans la même équipe. Alors si vous avez voté pour moi, il faut revenir voter.
Oh, how about that first thing in the morning? You open the door and there's Ségolène Royal and a TV crew.
They're pretty surprised. But what's interesting here is actually what she's saying to them is go out and vote, use your right to vote. But she never says vote for François Hollande. She just says we're in the same camp, we're part of the same party, we've got the same ideas, so get out there and, you know, be a part of democracy. It's a bit delicate, of course, because it's the father of her children. They were together for years and years. She was previously a candidate herself. But it's been applauded in the press here. Europe 1 say Segomania is still working as well as it always has. I mean, she's pretty popular. You can see those people were pretty pleased to see her. So it's something of a coup for Hollande, I think.
All right, not many ex-girlfriends want to do that for their ex-partners, do they? All right, Olivia Salazar-Winspear, many thanks indeed for joining us. That's it from Media Watch. Now it's time for Web News, and she's got millions and millions of Twitter followers and Facebook friends, more even than the President of the United States. I'm talking about Lady Gaga. Take a look. Here's Web News.